So how good are default classes in Master Mode? Or specifically, how good is the Mage? Well, to no one's surprise, the Mage class is kind of overpowered and super easy to play on. However, if you run a high elf apprentice mage and you do not give yourself defense against magic, it's very fun and exciting because if you get hit by a single spell, you die. However, all we have to do is just simply not get hit to not die. Now, the skills for the mage, this is the default class, are alchemy and every school of magic. Now, you can kind of imagine that having access to every school of magic is pretty insane because it gives you everything. If you want armor, just cast an alteration spell. If you want to summon, cast a summon and conjuration. If you want huge damage, you have destruction. If you want mind control, invisibility, paralyze, whatever you want from an illusion, you have it. Mysticism, you get cheap soul trap. Then restoration, you can get ramping and heals and all the things that are overpowered. For the basic build, it really doesn't matter what you do as long as you're doing some kind of destruction ramp, using conjuration, using illusion, pretty much using whatever. In this case, I decided to go for a staff build, and the staff that ended up running is this shock damage, 35 points per second for 2 second staff, the Greater Staff of Storms. I ended up finding 2 of these in my playthrough. And originally I was using the staff I got from the Arcane University, 80 points of damage, shock on target. This is enough damage to kill with 2 ramps, which is pretty crazy. And then this is usually enough to kill with 2 ramps as well, but it's also an AoE. This doesn't show it, but this is actually 10-foot radius, whereas the other staff is not. So pretty crazy, 19 use staff here. The other thing that's insane is if you actually just get the Necromancer's Amulet from the Mages Guild quest, at level 25 plus, it has Fortify Magicka 130 points, and then Fortify Intelligence, which also increases your Magicka, and it gives you willpower. It does drain strength and endurance, but these stats just don't matter, especially for a mage. I did find a Mundane Ring. There's actually a guaranteed Mundane Ring drop from the main quest if you are level 21 or higher, I believe. So one of the NPCs in the main quest will always have this, no matter what. And then I think I also got a Sorcerer's Ring as a random drop as well. So I have some Spell Absorb, as well as, you know, Mundane for Reflect and Resist. So I have some defense against magic just through the items I found randomly. Well, not really randomly. The Mundane Ring was a guaranteed drop, so there's that. For the actual build itself, it's really nothing too crazy. I've decided that single element, at least for most use cases, is the best thing because ramping a single element is cheaper. If you ramp multiple elements, it costs you more. And if it costs you more, you can't spam spells as much. If you can't spam spells as much, you're going to be relying on potions. So relying on potions means you're not, you know, efficient. So also, willpower increases are huge. So right now my base willpower is 164. So even without willpower ramp, I'm still doing pretty well with regen. And the fact that I can dip into staff is pretty nice as well. So let's just like demo the build. Honestly, this build is so good, it's boring to play, and I kind of don't even recommend running it if you're looking for a challenge. So the spells are basically this. I have single target and I have AoE. I have 15-foot radius, weakness to shock, weakness to magic. I ramp into that, and then I just nuke. And then I have several different types of nukes. I have a soul trap nuke to recharge Azuras, to recharge my staff. And I can also use the staff for when I'm out of Magicka. So it's pretty like low intensity in terms of management. Like you just cast spells and then maintain an enchantment. That's really it. So it just kind of looks like this. I added a 1 second paralyze on one of the spells. And if it doesn't kill... Right, so sometimes I think these guys have absorb actually. But you can go for nukes. Let's see, yeah. You can just use the staff if you run low on Magicka, or if you just want quick damage to like conserve. The other nice thing about using a staff is it allows you to regen. So here is the build in action. So sometimes we have to double cast. Double casting is fine. I'm using AoE right now. I have 1 second paralyze. So it looks like he absorbed one of the ramps. So now we are in a situation. But I do have some things to use. There we go. Alright, then he's dead. I didn't soul trap there because I didn't cast my spell, but the staff is nice for when we run out of magic. We can just zap things. Now, do I recommend you run this build? Kind of not really. It's so overpowered, actually. It's like undeniably overpowered. Especially with the AoE staff, because if I just run out of magicka and things are ramped, I can spam them down with the staff. And then I can keep refilling with Azura's. And I have a summon, if I need it, to refill the Azura's star myself manually. So this is kind of like, even though this is a default class, the mage, this build is overpowered. And if you're looking for a challenge on Master Mode, this is not the build for you. If you're looking for something that destroys Master Mode, this is the build for you. Alright, so he didn't get ramped, he probably absorbed one. Look at this, we have like all this excess. Sometimes he absorbs ramps and like the damage itself, so you have to be careful with those. But if we are ever out of magicka, we can always wait as well if there's no enemies nearby to reset. Or just wait because we actually have enough willpower that we should be fine. Alright, the soul trap is on target. So if you ever use it as an AoE, like if you have a soul trap that's on target but your attack is an AoE, it won't soul trap. You have to make sure either your soul trap is an AoE or that you actually hit the target. We can always wait to regen. It's pretty straightforward. Now to level up this build, this is like the easiest to run thing on Master ever, because all you have to do is do the recommendation quests, buy the spells that you need as you go, which are generally like ramp spells and like self-heal and stuff like this. So just do the recommendation quests from all the different cities, and as you enter a city, go into the Mages Guild, take all the free stuff in there and sell it, and you make like 1,000 gold per Mages Guild. So then you start off with enough money, or when you unlock spell making, which happens after like 2 to 3 hours of doing the recommendation quests at the Arcane University, you can unlock spell making and then start making some crazy spells, power level all your magic, and from there you just straight up become overpowered and easily beat the game. Once you get the Necromancer's Amulet though, it's all over. There's really nothing left to do. You just beat the game now, and then you can hold off on doing the main quest to get the guaranteed mundane ring drop, which is just absolutely cracked. And if you run a Breton instead of a high elf, you can hit 100 magic resist immediately. So if you're looking to easily beat Master Mode, Breton plus this build is definitely the way to do it, because you can get a guaranteed mundane ring at level 21 plus, and all you have to do is just cast ramps on things and then they die. Now, certain enemies do have Spell Reflect and Shivering Isles, so that's something to watch out for. But outside of that, most enemies in the base game have Spell Absorb, which is a worse effect that doesn't at least kill you. So if you cast into something with Spell Reflect, there's a good chance that you start putting debuffs on yourself and then you potentially spike yourself down. That is something to watch out for. But you do have summons for that, so if you have to deal with, you know, some crazy enemy with Reflect or something, if you throw a summon out, the summon can attack them and deal with them for you. It's really up to you as to how you want to run the build. You can also change elements. It doesn't have to be shock. If you happen to find an AoE staff that's like fire or something, feel free to use that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. It's pretty straightforward. It's nothing too new. It's very similar to like my Spellblade video. You do have to ramp those, otherwise sometimes dodge. They like dodge the debuffs, so you have to be mindful of that. But yeah, that is it for this one. Just a quick fun build of just using a generic starter class. Certain starter classes are insanely powerful if you just use them correctly. Other ones, not so much. But yeah, that is it for this one. Definitely like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.